Hi, this is Michael Waits, and welcome back to Insurance for the New Possible, a Chubb conversation. We are kicking off by welcoming Gabriel Lazaro, Head of Digital, Overseas General Insurance at Chubb. Look, after a pretty incredible 2023, let's just start digging deep. What emerging technologies do you believe will play a pivotal role in digital insurance in 2024?
Okay, we just sent 2023, and I think it was the year of AI.
For sure.
I think everything that OpenAI did and about ChatGPT and the repercussion that it has across many industries also impact insurance. So I expect for 2024 is going to be much more of AI.
Oh, wow.
I do believe we're going to see first pilots and use cases, applications about AI that has been here for years, right? It's not something that is not new, but much more specific around efficiencies and automation, also about copilots and improving, experience of the agents, self-representative, claim services, and as well everything around the customer experience with language models. I think we will see interesting cases around that in 2024.
So how does Chubb, and how do big companies do this, right? How do you take these new technologies, whether it's that or any other new technology, and integrate it into the business and into the sort of business flow?
So we invest heavily in technology. We like to be front runners on that. So we are a company, as Evan says, of underwriters and engineers. So engineering and technology is part of our DNA in everything that we are doing. So we have different approaches to that. For example, the unit that I led, technology is what we do. We are a digital business unit that partners with more than 200 innovators from e-commerce, fintechs, telcos, and in order to partner with that, you need to have technology ready.
Yeah.
So, and that's with the conversations that we have with them and with the problems that we try to solve, we lack technology that fulfills and try to help those problems. So this is one way we are doing that. It's very natural. It's part of our day in, day out. But then we can go even much more advanced. We have here a unit called New Frontiers.
Okay.
And they are exploring things that are a little bit, outside the day in, day out of the digital business and trying to innovate and test and learn. And that's also part of what we are doing. But there are many different fronts that Chubb to that we, at a global level, we try to move fast into understand, deploy, and use technology.
So we've had conversations recently about how company culture and management culture impacts the integration of technology, anything new kind of into a company. How do you feel like the commitment that senior management has filters down into the sort of rank and file staff?
Everything starts from the top.
Right.
I mean, it's for the vision that our leaders have, and then, where it means that goes into every layer of the organization, and it's super important. Not only that, also I think in combination with the bottom-up approach. I think when you have both, you have entrepreneurs in the organization that are trying to explore, but they have the space and the forum to do that and the sandbox to do that, together with the commitment of the top. I think it's a winning situation that you can find in organizations like Chubb.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the company's committed to doing these new things. If there's a unit called New Frontiers, it just means that everybody knows that the company's thinking about it. So just psychologically, everybody seems that they should be prepared for this, no?
Yeah, let me give you an example of something that is not my area, it's Sean's, for instance, but I think I can share that. So we had an internal competition. We developed, we call Chubb GPT.
Oh, okay.
So we create our a language model, a chat that you can interact with those smart language models, and we have an open contest about creativity and using the tool. It was a massive adoption, and it was a great tool. So it really encouraged all the community of employees to be exposed to the technology, to learn about technology, to interact with the technology, and it was super fun and super engagement, and and again creates this environment of innovation and using technology actively at Chubb.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to do that. Look, let's switch gears a little bit and address a few topics that I like to call at the intersection of insurance and e-commerce. trust is like this paramount thing for e-commerce transactions, right? What innovative measures is Chubb taking or planning to take to help both the consumers that are buying the things and the sellers that are selling the things enhance trust on e-commerce platforms?
Yeah, e-commerce is super important for Chubb. And then just to provide some reference to you, Michael, and the people who is around right now, e-commerce is around $6 trillion market in terms of gross merchandise value, right? 2020 was like 4.
Oh, wow.
2030 is forecast around 8. It will be 1/3 of the total retail commerce. So
it's such a large number.
Such a large, is massive, right? It's part of our lives, and I think the pandemic and what the mobile adoption and everything that is technology is just accelerated that. And it's global. It's across US, Latin America, Europe, Asia Pacific. We partner with retailers and e-commerce globally. So we have the luxury of understanding this sector quite well and having solutions for the rich ecosystem. Because talking about trust in e-commerce, you can find the sellers or the merchants is part of the ecosystem. Then you have the buyers, people who purchase the goods like you and me, and then everything in between.
Right.
So we conducted a survey last November, not only working on partnering with those large e-commerce globally that we have the luxury to partner with. We want to go deep, understanding the pain points, the problems, and where are the kind of things that from the merchant or from the end user or consumer perspective, the sector, there is a window for opportunity or things that insurance can play a role on increasing trust and other factors.
Right.
And we have a research conducted by a firm called a Research, and we survey more than 500 consumers worldwide and 500 merchants worldwide. So truly global, to understand difference between regions, different segments. So what's really going deep. I can go later, but just to provide some interesting context and it was quite interesting how insurance can play a role on developing this trust. 69% of the people that we interview think that insurance will increase the trust. They will purchase more on e-commerce if insurance is part.
So they feel safer. Like if something goes wrong, they feel protected.
They feel safer. And if you go, you click a little bit deeper and you go and you understand why. And it was quite interesting data that reflected the survey. And for me, it was a surprise. The survey reflects that 75% of the people that we interview, they have problems due to the financial scams and fraud. Right, 75% was quite high. Around 61%. They have problems with the shipping or arriving late or, not arriving.
So a few places in the value chain, right?
Exactly. And then 41% or 42% of the people who we interview, at least when they received the package, it was not what they were expecting, or the product was not what it was, whatever, right? So despite all the great investment and great platforms that are in e-commerce, right, and they are fantastic platforms, there are still problems there, right?
Right.
So insurance can really play a role in terms of minimizing those risks, right? Being part of the value proposition, doing in a way that we have learned to make it really appealing, seamless experience, but then from the end user or the merchant, really minimize the risk. And you feel that, okay, if something goes wrong, happen with my payment, something goes wrong, happen with the shipping, if the thing they are ordering, is not where, so you have this trust and this safety net of insurance, right, that protects you, the experience.
It's interesting. Like, I know what size my jeans are. And when I go to the store to buy them, I still want to try them on. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where I get the trust. I try them on. I know that they're the ones that I want. And I think if you add that sort of embedded insurance into the online retail experience, I feel like, you know what? I trust the fact that if there's a problem, I'm protected. And therefore, I feel like I can buy this. And there's a certain excitement, for me at least, when I buy something online. When it shows up, I want to feel great about it, right? So if there is an issue anywhere in the value chain, if I am protected, I feel like it doesn't take away that happiness and that excitement.
That's right. And even we ask in the survey, right? The survey, how much will you be able to pay for that experience that you described, Michael? And 1/3 of the people we make the research, they say that they were willing to pay up to 5% of the price of the good. Yeah,
okay, that's real.
But that's real.
Yeah, that's real.
People, 1/3 of the people globally, right? It's not one region, another region. They are saying, "No, I would like to pay this 5% of this." In that case, the clothes that you just purchased, just to have the sense of, I try and it's exactly what I was asking. Great, but if not, you have the peace of mind. At the end, insurance plays a role of peace of mind, right? And I know it's going to be, I'm going to get back my money, or we're going to get another.
Is there a way to adapt, and how is Chubb doing this? Is there a way to adapt the products to different age groups that are engaging with like social media marketplaces, right? Like now you can buy things from Threads, you can buy things from other platforms like this. Is there a way to break it down by age group and how they and create products just for them?
Yeah, with the way we operate, we co-create experience with our e-commerce partners.
Right.
So they really truly know their database, what they are doing. They own the data, they own the experience, they own, they master and craft that. So we sit down with them with the information, our experience as a top underwriter, our presence in 54 markets and territories, and our deep experience doing that for many years, together with their knowledge of their customers, their segments, their pain points, and we craft those experience based on demographics, based on pain points that exist, based in different characteristics. And this co-creation is super powerful, and it has helped us to develop really unique products. Answering your question a little bit is also is part of our experience and the result of the survey that we just did. And it's public, and you can access to this information. I will put it in the notes so everyone can take a look, and it's available for everyone. So e-commerce means all the segments. I think Gen Zs, millennials, and Gen X, they are into e-commerce. There is no boomers have still much more going to the store and much more traditional, what is fine. Right. But then it's Gen Z, so the younger generation. They are purchasing the double digits and the double, right, from social e-commerce. Right. And it tells you the power of platforms like Instagram, TikTok, you name it, right? All these kind of platforms that they have these, in the AIDA model from the professor Lewis Ramis in the 80s about attention, right? Is the first upper side of the funnel. So they are able to get the attention with influencers, and then, funnel into the e-commerce. So it's quite powerful, and that creates a lot of trust into the Gen Zs and younger generations.
Can I ask you this, though? Some of these big e-commerce platforms that were purpose-built for e-commerce have built very sophisticated backends, right, to make this easy. But considering the fact that some of the sellers have expressed concerns about the back end on TikTok, on Threads, on some of these places that weren't necessarily built specifically at the beginning for commerce, can you tell me what role Chubb can play in bridging the trust gap, and what implications does this have for risk management across the board for those types of transactions?
So we like to solve pain points for our partners and end users in a way that is first understanding those problems, right? If you're a platform and you come in, I have a problem with trust on shipping, right? Or I have a problem with my trust on payments, right? So how can you help me develop an insurance propositions that really minimize that perceived pain point from my end user?
Right.
And then do it in a way that adds value to my overall proposition, not only from the selling perspective, also from the claims and servicing perspective. So when something happens, how can I make that process as smooth as possible? And the way we are doing that is sitting down, understanding. Usually we do design thinking sessions with the partners, right? It's quite popular, and sure you are familiar, Michael. And then going deep, getting our expertise about the different, areas and try to develop products that are appealing for the platform that we work and the end users. And again, could be a merchant, could be end user.
So one of the things in the report that you referenced, in this research that you referenced, right, because I read through the report, highlights the high frequency, you talked about different regions, right, of online shopping in Latin America. and their trust in social media commerce. So how does Chubb tailor its product offerings to meet the unique demands and expectations of consumers in different regions? Right? We talked about different age groups, but how about in different regions?
So even there are differences between adoption and behavior or different region. I think the core of the problems are the same.
The basic problems are the same, but the reactions to those problems are different, right?
Exactly. The basic problems are the same. So again, if I purchase something, is my payment secure, right? If I purchase something, it will arrive on time, or if it's what I purchase, right? Those main problems, just to talk about the end user perspective, are naturally the same concerns, no matter if you are sitting in Sao Paulo or you are in Singapore or Bangkok, right? Or Madrid or London. But then there are different perspectives in terms of the region itself. And again, that goes into the country expertise that we have. We have presence, again, in 54 countries with local operations, local people that understand the cultures and the difference, right? And then the deep knowledge of our partners. We are not doing that alone. We operate on a B2B2C. So they are the ones who really are day in and day out thinking about their customers, thinking about the e-commerce proposition, and then developing products. And then for the products, there are differences, right? And Latin America I know it well. I operated in that region for many years, right. and it's a fascinating region. And you can see why there are so many adoptions, and there are some factors. First is a highly digital leapfrog everything, right? From zero to, you can compare it with Southeast Asia in a way, right? Quite not the same, but you resonate some of the dynamics. Then means there is no shopping mall in each city in Latin America for different reasons, right? Because I think, but everyone has a supercomputer in the hand. Right. Means there are 400 million people with supercomputer, right. And then having the access and having the opportunity to, in your little town, you could be Manaus, that is close to Amazon, and it's not many ways to get there, right. But you have a supercomputer in the hand. Logistics has improved a lot, and internet connection in a click of a button, you can get something to your apartment, and the nature of the social as well. If you see, not only Latin America is ranking high on social media adoption. It's part of the culture of Latin America to be so social. So social component, technology, and the nature of the region itself, I think, has created a fantastic environment for the thriving of social e-commerce.
So do you
Latin
think
America.
As these social media platforms continue to grow and actually offer more services, selling is one of them, right? E-commerce is one of them. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that's going to be a special way to increase the insurance penetration as well, not just in Latin America, but again in places like Southeast Asia and in India?
Absolutely, Michael. Again, it's a part of the survey, and it was that we made it with a third party, right? And it was 69% of the e-commerce consumers, right? Think about trillions of dollars of transaction, and millions of people who are going to purchase and are purchasing online now through e-commerce. Now they are not protected, and that's the reality, right? So if you offer something that is really relevant for the user, right? If you offer that in a platform that they trust, if you're doing that in a way that is a seamless experience for the selling, for the servicing capability, right? I think there is a fantastic opportunity to reduce the protection gap and ensure the experience of millions of people around the world. So definitely.
You mentioned the logistics in Latin America, and that it's improving. You gave this example of somebody in the close to the Amazon. Yeah. They may not have a shopping mall there, but they have a supercomputer in their hand. Do you feel like that the logistics providers as well, if they're going further and further away from the main cities, also need protection, and that giving them protection too gives the sellers, the buyers, the platform, and then the logistics companies as well more confidence to be able to do that delivery and fix those logistics things?
Absolutely. I mean, it's spot on, Michael. That's when I was saying the whole ecosystem about e-commerce. I think that you are exactly right. So it's the sellers, is the the shipping company, the last mile delivery company,
right.
is the seller. In many of those parts of the world, usually are gig forces, the one gig worker forces, the one who are doing the last mile delivery. Right. Someone in again, to think about Southeast Asia or Latin America, someone in a motorcycle or even cycling, right, that takes the parcel and then delivers, the last 5 miles to get to the place, right? So and all the protection around that ecosystem. I mean, that's an unbelievable opportunity to really support those businesses, those individuals, those experience, and I think that's an opportunity to come, but needs to be tailor-made for those individuals, platforms, and ecosystem. Absolutely,
right. It's really interesting, if you don't mind, a little bit more on the logistics front.
Yeah.
When I was living in the United States, in the big cities, there were bicycle messengers. They do everything by bike. I don't know why they didn't ride motorcycles, but they didn't. When I moved to Japan, the way the logistics work is they actually had one guy who just served one neighborhood and would just drive and go to each individual house, sometimes walk there. But in Southeast Asia, it's almost all on these motorbikes. And providing protection to them, again, because not my research, but the anecdotal evidence that I've heard says that a lot of those bikes are bought by the families, not by an individual. So protecting him or her also protects the family as well, no?
Absolutely, yeah. That's right. So that's right, Michael. And I was thinking, before joining insurance, I was on a internet accelerator. I remember when we were starting to do e-commerce in some parts of the world. Before e-commerce, we were solving the logistic problems.
Right.
So that was the first thing to solve. But yeah, absolutely.
One of the biggest problems. Look, you mentioned that consumers appear willing to pay a fee, 5%, right, for greater experience assurance, right? It's not just for the product. It's so that this is the feeling that I was telling you about, right? Can you talk in a little bit more detail about what strategies that Chubb is implementing to integrate these offerings into that online purchasing process? And how does it improve the confidence for the whole chain, particularly in the social media? Yeah,
no, that's a great question, Michael. We are doing that with our e-commerce partners. Yep. They own the experience. The shopping cart is the moment of truth, right? When you are purchasing something, and we are consumers. And what we are doing is understanding, again, the segment, and based on data, what are the pain points that the customer is doing. Purchasing a good could be an electronic, could be good, could be a fashion, makeup. Nowadays with everything, and what's the product that is appealing and really connected to the goods or services that someone is purchasing online. That's the first thing, right? What's the product that really connects with what you're purchasing, and what's the experience end to end until you have the thing. Then it's about the value proposition itself, the coverage, easy to understand, the price points, everything that is related to that. So it's something that needs to be super easy to understand, right? You are in e-commerce experience, you're purchasing, you don't want to be, right? And we are experts, not only in e-commerce, also in airlines for many years. And we apply this experience here. Then it's about the placement of the offer. So how you make the offer that is that doesn't interrupt at all the flow that you are doing when you are purchasing something. You don't want to be annoyed at all, right?
Do you mind if I ask you? It's a really good point. The place where that offer is made really makes a difference.
It makes
testing on that as well?
Absolutely. That's part of our DNA, test and learning. We have a revenue growth discipline. And testing and learning is what we do for to provide value to our partners, right? And there are many things that you can offer. You can opt out, opt in, 2 different options. We test pricing, we test placement. So there is a testing mechanism that we have it manual or automated with tools like Athena, and we have interesting tools to apply to that. So at the end we learn. We experiment, we learn together with our e-commerce partner, right? But all the digital marketing activities, we are doing that to make sure that the placement has the best attachment rate possible, right? And is the best experience from the end user. That is the most important thing. And in order to all do that, we have you need to have the technology. We have Chubb Studio with, I think, more than 2 billion API calls. So it's massive, the volumes that we are able to make this quoting and selling online. So we have the technology through APIs, through SDKs, through all the technology that we can provide as an organization, and proudly we provide as an organization. And then is the last part, I think, is, okay, something happens, so let's make the claims experience as seamless, as painful, and as frictionless as possible.
Okay, before I let you go, I just want to mention the name of this report, and we will put it in the show notes, as you said, Crossing the E-Commerce Trust Divide, the differing views of trust by consumers and e-sellers, and the implications for e-commerce platforms and social media marketplaces. Gabriel Lazaro, Head of Digital Overseas General Insurance at Chubb. Welcome to 2024. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.